analog. And I use the American version of spelling. Later I might use the British version. But as you may not know, I'm a bookbinder by training. Not really. I took this class once in college. And so I can make all kinds of books. This is an example of a cord-bound leather-backed book. And I really care about, well, the definition of analog is more technical, but this idea of writing in a tactile way, right? Or experiencing things like that. So there was a research study that came out a couple years ago that compared writing things down, handwritten notes, versus on a tablet. It was out of Tokyo, at the University of Tokyo, and to keep this succinct, basically this professor said, paper is more advanced and useful compared to electronic documents because paper contains more one-of-a-kind information for stronger memory recall. How many of you, I guess raise of hands, who exclusively is a digital note taker? And what about an analog note taker? And I see a couple hands online. And a bit of both. I find that is the case for me, even as much as I love handwritten things. But these journals or notebooks that you have here, I have 20, 30 of them, and they are just they're not like journals per se, but they're like notes that I've taken. Notes for work I like to throw away eventually, so I don't put them in my pretty books. But here are some of the benefits of analog note-taking. Faster. Contrary to popular belief that digital tools increase efficiency, volunteers who use paper completed the note-taking task about 25% faster than those using digital tablets or smartphones. It's complexier, and this is good because a physical paper allows for tangible permanence. You have all these strokes and marks. You have little nuances to the page and paper that actually contribute to your brain being able to recall the things that you see on the paper. And for, well, they call it fixed position. In the digital app, there's not really a fixed position because you close that app and it disappears. So your brain can't recall as much. And then it's brainier because they found that volunteers who use paper had more brain activity in these areas associated with language, imaginary visualization, and in the hippocampus where you do recall and navigation to finding information. So I wanted to also show you some of my favorite notebooks that I didn't have them all. If I really thought this through, I would have brought these from home. But I really care about the paper of a notebook. And this is a really lame one. I would like you to, well, I'm going to do this real quick. Will you take those and pass them down? We're going to have a little test. Here's probably a few more. Yeah, pass those down. Sorry for you online. But I want you to feel that paper as you're feeling it. And then, I'm not going to rip this paper up because I like it too much. But feel the paper, the weight, this is pretty standard. The best notebooks that I prefer are notebooks that are spiral bound, usually have a grid or square, or a dot grid or square grid, that has kind of a nice weight. This is a little this is fine for note taking, but the books that I make are usually a little heavier, and I like that. But what I really want to talk about are the best pens. So if anyone knows, does anyone know that I am obsessed with pens? A couple of you do. So paper pens, all these things. These pens are awful. These are the regular Bic pens, and so I want you to take one, maybe share them a little bit. And I want you to write with them, and then I'm going to pass out. I only had a few. I had hundreds at my house, but I only had a few at my desk. Then I want you to test with these. These are Muji pens. They're a Japanese pen. There's a lot of great pens out there, but these are my favorite. And they're various sizes, and this is my general approach for note taking. I use a .38. I have a couple of those, and then I have a point here. Pass those and share those. A .5 is a little heavier weight. I use that maybe for journaling or handwriting stuff. And then when I write letters, I use a .7. I unfortunately don't have a .7 here for you to test, but it's a thicker. The nice thing about the Muji pens is that they just have an excellent roll. The ink usually stays very fluid, and I like it. So I don't know what time it is, but take the rest of my presentation to test out your pens. Any questions?
You have 10 seconds. for me with pens, I care about what's behind the paper when I'm writing. Do you care about that?
That's why I like some of these, like the spiral, because I can flip this around, and so I have that weight. Yeah, if you write on this table with here, it's like you just don't get the malleability of the ink or whatever. Just made that up. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Pilot G2?
That's actually a pretty decent pen. It's a pretty standard pen. It's a little too thick because it's like a 0.7, I think. You can get the smaller ones. I just think it's a little, like the ballpoint tip is a little too heavy for me. That's why I really like these 0.35s that I'm passing out. Anything else? Okay, that's all.
Thanks, Deb.